So, this lesson is entitled Living Inside Out. Now, again, this is another one of those titles where at first glance you look at it and you're like, okay, living inside out, where are we going with this? But just as it was with the title, Failing at Winning, hopefully as we begin to unpack it, it'll begin to resonate with you and make more sense, okay? So, if you think about our society through the lens of this particular title for this lesson, we live in a society today that continuously seeks to externally apply worth into a person, okay? And some of the examples are these that follow right here, and we hear it all the time. If you buy this particular product, then you'll be happy. If you make this amount of money, then you're considered successful. If you have this particular title, then you're considered important. If you drive this particular car, then you're considered cool. If you look this way, then you have a sense of entitlement. And we hear this every day without ceasing. And this has actually become truth for so many people. And we've let all of the external factors and conditions and ideals and values have a large impact on what we think that we're worth, on what we think that we're capable of achieving in life. We let it have an impact on our self-esteem, on our confidence, and essentially on our identity. But what if I said this to combat that? What if I said, my life is inside of me? My life is inside of me. It's not around me, but it's inside of me. It's not other people's opinions. It's not what somebody has to say. It's not the color of my skin. It's not where I live. But my life is inside of me. And this is what I repeat. And this is what I dwell on so that this is what I can believe. And it's not to train myself of some false thought, but it's to dwell on the truth that I say so that I may realize the truth. You see, society would have you believe that everything on the outside of you determines you. And it becomes truth for so many people. But it never, in any inkling of time, replaces truth. Because your life is inside of you. Your worth, your value, your potential, your true identity comes from within. So hence the title, Living Inside Out. But listen, to live inside out effectively, okay? To live inside out effectively, you have to have a firm understanding of your identity. I mean, you've got to know that you know who you are. Because if you don't have a strong sense of identity, you'll lose it. Or you'll never find it. One or the other. So let's write that. Let's look at this for a few minutes. Living inside out. Well, let's look at identity. Because this is what we really want to have a firm understanding of. Okay? So let's look at identity. Well, the only way you really truly can find yourself and your true identity is that you have to know whose you are. Okay? And let's write these down. You have to know whose you are. Okay? Well, the only way to really know whose you are is you have to know the truth. Okay? You have to know the truth. Well, the only way to know the truth is to be in relationship with the truth. Okay? Relationship. That's key. Well, the only way to really be in relationship with the truth is you first have to come in contact with the truth, right? Contact with the truth. So let's look at each one of these words, because essentially this is where we want to get to. In order to live inside out effectively, we have to have a true sense of identity, okay? And you're probably wondering, well, why did we write these particular 4 words down? Well, if you think about whose is actually a sense of belonging. Belonging to something or someone, okay? And if you think about know or knowledge, it's really the essence of possession, because you, when you cognitively understand or comprehend something, or you understand mentally, when you know that you know something, then nobody can take it from you. And that's why Proverbs chapter 16, verse 22 says that understanding is a fountain of life to those who have it. So know or knowledge is a sense of understanding. Okay? A sense of understanding. And when you think about relationship is just the state of connection to something or someone. And then contact, you think about presence, sharing presence, or proximity, close proximity. All right? So, let's look at this one more time. So to live inside out effectively, all right, we have to have a true sense of identity, and we have to have a firm understanding of who we are on the inside, okay? Well, the only way to really find yourself is to know whose you are. Who do you belong to? Well, the only way to know who you belong to is that you have to have an understanding of the truth. Well, in order to have an understanding of the truth, you have to be in relationship with the truth. Okay? You have to be connected in a relationship with the truth. And the only way to be in a relationship or have that connectivity with the truth is that you have to first come into contact with the truth. So, the last question is, what is truth? Well, as a believer in Jesus Christ, we believe that God is the source of all truth. Okay? So let's think about this. Let's start at the bottom now, because to get here, we've got to first come into contact with the truth. And we've identified the truth to be God. So what's one of the attributes of God? Well, one of the attributes is God is omnipresent, meaning he's in all spaces at all times and all places. Meaning he's in all places at all times and all spaces. Meaning he's everywhere all the time. Okay? So, what does that mean for us? Well, that means regardless of where we are in life, whether we've made mistakes, whether we think that we are unworthy, whether we've done things that we think that God should have written us off, wherever we are physically or mentally, we're always in a position to be in relationship with God. We're always in a position to come into contact with God. Okay? And if we're always in a position to bring us into contact with God, then that means there's always an opportunity to come in relationship with God. And if you come into a relationship with God and you have that connectivity and that sense of exchange, then God, through that sense of exchange, allows you to know him and understand him so that it can be a fountain of life. So then you'll know that you know. And if you have that opportunity that God will give you through the relationship, if he gives you that knowledge, which he will, then you begin to know him as Father. Oh, this is good. You begin to know him as Father. And you have a sense of belonging that nobody can take from you because you know that you know. You have a firm understanding that God is your Father. You have a sense of belonging, who you belong to, right? And once you know that, it gives you the true sense of identity. Okay? Make sense? That's good. That's good. So we're always in a position, because of God's omnipresence, because of the attributes of God, because of his holiness, because of his grace, because of his mercy, we're always in a position to come into contact with him that will lead to a relationship with him, that will lead to a firm understanding of him, that will give us a sense of belonging, who we really belong to, which gives us our true identity. Let's look at our first scripture. Let's go to Matthew chapter 12.